So a lot of you may be wondering how I do my pixel art. Well, today I'm going to do a quick little video and tell you a couple of things about how it works. What it takes to make it, how everything works. I'm going to show you a forest layout, and then I'll show you the website that I get most of my images from to make my pixel art. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to show you this little folder right here, which I'm dragging around in the viewing screen. Sorry. It's the RPG-pixel folder that I've created. Now in this folder I've separated everything into a couple different things. Your profile images, your pixel images, and your PSD final images. Now in the pixel images is where we're going to focus on today. Now as you see, each one of these has its own folder: backgrounds, PSDs, MISCs, places, tile sets, finished artwork, and vehicles. Now the one we're going to go ahead and go into is tile sets. Now a lot of my tile sets have a lot of different things on them. One of the ones that I'm going to show you is computers. Now computers I don't use very often unless I'm doing more of a sci-fi feel, but for today I'm going to go ahead and show you in Adobe Photoshop CS4 how I make my images. Now I'm going to double click on this little layer set. We're going to go ahead and name this new layer Computer. Now it's important to label what you're making, otherwise when you go into designing things and you have a lot of clutter, you want to know what images are doing what, and if it's making an error issue, then you will really want to know how to do that. Now I could go ahead and make this image a little bit more tighter, but for right now I'm going to use the marquee rectangle tool and just do that for right now. And go ahead up to select, inverse, and delete. Now, the background you're seeing is your basic pixel background. It's a certain amount of pixels per image, and that's not saying each block is an image. It's each little block you see up there is a pixel area. So, as you can see, we have a lot of dead space area around this image. So we're going to go ahead and use the crop tool in your tool settings to go ahead and crop this image like so. And we still got that white border. So let's go ahead up to our magic wand, use quick selection tool, and click and drag around the area. Wow, actually that worked pretty nicely since we have the crop tool on and used it to close off the border. Now we don't have to worry about it too much. So let's go ahead and delete that white background. Now that that's deleted, we won't have to worry about our image having that white background, which means it'll bleed into, now we don't have that white background, it'll be a lot easier to put the image onto a layout and have that layout actually have this image be see-through. So let's go ahead and show you what we can do with this by opening up a new tab. Now I'm going to go ahead and name this test area, and we're going to make it 600 pixels by 600. Now your standard screen is about 1080 by 1280. I might be wrong. Okay, so now that we have our pixels, we're going to leave everything else the same and hit OK. Excellent. So we'll click the layer, call it test area. Not that we need to, but it's good to have it for right now. And go up to the viewer port, hit 2 up, or select 2 up I should say. And we're going to take the computer layer and drag and drop into our test area. Now it doesn't move the image exactly, it just makes a duplicate. It won't harm the original, it just makes a separate one. So you can do whatever you want with this one. So let's go ahead and select it by hitting Control left click. Now we have this marquee tool that we had before on it, but now it's selecting everything inside the picture. So let's go up to create a new hue and saturation adjustment layer and click that. Now in hue I'm going to go ahead and make this a red computer. Now I don't like how we have this really red computer screen, but to help that I'm going to go ahead and lower the saturation a little and bring down the lightness into more of a dark area. And select the marquee tool, space click, just going to drag it. Alright, now let's go ahead and fill that after a moment. For right now, control click on the computer, and now that we have both layers selected, hit Control E. Now once again, this is going to change the title of your image. So we're gonna have to go back, double click, rename it computer. Alright, with the marquee still selected, let's go ahead and open our color picker. Pick a nice color. Now I could use the paint bucket, but I'm just gonna hit Alt, Delete, and bam, done. Now we have that nice solid color. It doesn't look like it's got pixels in it. It works. Now you put images into that, but I usually don't. I usually just make a black screen, unless I have to have an image in there. But let's not worry about that for right now. Now these little eyes are basically our layers on-off switch. If we want to turn it off, we just click on that. Let's go ahead and turn off the test area. And now that we have this little computer, we can import it into any selected piece of art that we want. So if we had a separate room, all we have to do is the same process we did to bring it in, which is go up to View, hit 2 up, and just drag and drop inside image. And we don't have an image, so we're just going to leave it here. And let's save. Let's go ahead and save. Now, Photoshop, I have the autosave off. You can turn autosave on. I've put it off since I save every 5 minutes anyhow, automatically, or manually I should say. Save this as test. Make sure it's in the right folder, which it is, RPG-pixel. Hit save. Alright, now we have the PSD file, we don't have to worry about losing it. So let's delete that and bring back the test area. Now that white is pretty bright, and one of the things I'm going to show you is how to make a texture ground. Alright, now that that's all done, I'm going to show you how to make a filtered ground. Now, it's the first thing that I did in our forest tile. You may recognize this from the photos that are up on Facebook. Now this ground is actually a combination of 2 separate colors that I used a couple different tools to make. The first being a filter gallery on the green, and it's just a straight green color, nothing else. Just drop some green in there, and I'm going to show you how to make a close representation of this, because this I custom made it. I kind of just went to filter gallery and fooled around a little bit till I found something I liked and combined a lot of different filters for it. The brown is actually another color. I just cut holes using the pen tool and made a very simple path layout. Doesn't have to be exact since we're going to cover it up with trees anyway. So now that that's been told, let's go ahead and make a textured ground to make it look like grass. So I went ahead and picked green, stumped it in there. Alright, we have our green filter. Now let's go up to filter gallery. Let's go up to filter gallery, the second one. Let's see. Let's use the texturizer. Now texturizer has 4 different kinds of textures: brick, burlap, canvas, and sandstone. Now the brick, of course, does brick. The burlap makes it look more like burlap, canvas, and sandstone. Let's use the sandstone since it looks a little bit more like it's broken up. Scaling it up a little bit, and just a little bit of relief, not a whole lot. It also changes the way the light's hitting it, from the bottom left, so on and so forth. Let's just stay with the top for right now. And I'll go ahead and invert it, make it look a little more nicer. But that doesn't look like grass, you may be saying. Well, that's not a problem. We go back to filter gallery, we go to sketch. We find something that we like that makes it a little bit more colored. Now I'm going to go ahead and use the pronunciation of it because I really don't know how to say it. Conte Crayon, and mess around with the foreground a little bit. Just trying to get that pink look a little. Background's not doing much. Let's scale it up a little. And relief. Just a little. Okay. Add it again. Too much. So let's go ahead and Control-Alt-Z. Go back to filter gallery. See if there's anything else we can do with it. There we go. We use an ocean ripple to cut things up a little bit. I'll leave the settings at 2 and the magnitude at 11. Excellent. Alright, so now we have our grass area, which as you can see looks pretty similar to that, but a little bit less detail on the pink areas. Now, that's all I really wanted to show you with the ground. I could show you how to cut this out, but it's one of those things where you kind of just either use the lasso, the pen tool, or the eraser and just kind of cut a hole in it and add a brown filtered gallery effect layout onto the bottom of it. It's just the same way, just gotta mess around with it, find out what you like, what looks best. Now, at first, right now, you're thinking, well, it doesn't look like much. Well, you're right, it doesn't. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn on the creek, which is our water layout, but that looks terrible. You may be saying, well, hold on, and let's bring in the forest. Oh, look at that, it makes a huge difference. Now we actually make it look like it's actually a forest map. Hooray! Now the water is once again just a blue texture with a filters on it. It's very simple to make. An ocean ripple here and some film grain makes it look nice and kind of wide. It's not supposed to look realistic exactly, it's just supposed to be an image, a representation of it. Now you may be wondering how we have all these little trees. Well,